And we're live on a hump day live stream. Yeah. Uh, Coasting down the other side of the roller coaster towards the weekend. Hee ha. Hey, Chris and Amy Marie on Facebook. You're a 1980 baby like Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, and I genuinely mean it. Finding out Macaulay Culkin is 40 makes me feel older than thinking about my actual age. The inevitable passage of time. Megaleech and Fox of Fate, good evening to you both. Good to see you. Good to be here, chilling out, having a drink. You know, it's a happening thing, as the saying goes. Chris, you will too. What in particular was crazy in the US? I mean, there are so many things to choose from. I'm intrigued as to which events you feel are making things crazy. There is so much going on. Yeah, whether it be the Republican National Convention with its fucking extreme weirdness. Or the latest unrest in relation to police shooting a black man in the back 6 times. It's just, yeah. Chris, you hate to be the bearer of bad news. Yes, Wisconsin. Ooh, I didn't know that happened. Blue Lives Matter kids shot 3 protesters. Yikes, that's not good. That's not good. Yep, I reckon the country's on the brink. There are a lot of people floating the idea of a civil war. And because Trump just whips shit up because he has no sense of responsibility whatsoever. He is despicable. Hey, Big Pat, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, it's yeah, yeah. It's like I was trying to think of a way to frame it about how fucked up things are with Trump, but they're just bad. Chris happened right here is working with the cops. Yeah, yeah. This sort of unrest is very much a good way to see what's the worst possible outcome of all this Second Amendment bullshit. That's very weird. Yep, so let's drink, indeed. Pat, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you on this day? I'm doing ice experiments. I think I showed the clear ice or clearish ice I was making with this, just an insulated cup. Fill it with water and see, you can see right through it. That's how clear it is. Fill it with water and freeze it, which takes a long time, like because of the insulation, like 24 hours, because you get directional freezing rather than freezing from all directions, as ice normally does. It freezes from the top down, which pushes all the impurities down. So they all form at the bottom of the ice, and you get really clear ice above that. But because this is a very hard, rigid cup, I can't really get the ice out easier. I have to wait for it to melt a little and loosen itself from the edge. Hopefully they come out sometime in this live stream and I'll show you what it looks like. But that's my latest experiment, making clear ice. Heine, what happened in protests in Wisconsin? Some right-wing fuckwit shot some unarmed protesters. That's what happened. Fox, do a Home Alone cocktail. Oh, something to make you do that. Actually, I bet something turns up if I do a Home Alone cocktail. I bet something comes up. I bet someone's christened a cocktail a Home Alone? Of course they have. Of course they have. There is a couple. Okay. It's a site called Cocktail Builder. It says vodka, sugar, Gatorade energy drink, Mountain Dew. God, that is a redneck fucking drink right there. Gatorade, Mountain Dew, and Kool-Aid. Right. Shan't be making that. Most definitely shall not be making that. Is this the same? Someone... Okay. So this person says it's a highball. Lemon juice, sugar syrup, gin, and ginger beer. So that's just a gin mule, basically. Not very inventive. As a website dedicated to film-inspired cocktails. This one, oh, okay, they just say a chocolate peppermint martini is so that's to do with Kevin McAllister eating all the sugary stuff. So chocolate liqueur, vodka, peppermint schnapps, cream, and a candy cane as a garnish. That's at least thematic. I like that because it's thematic. Predictably, there are lots of things people have called a Home Alone cocktail. Okay, that's someone doing the energy drink Gatorade thing again. That's good. Hey, good spirit. Good morning to you. Good evening in my part of the world, of course. I do like that one recipe that was being thematic. Kevin McAllister, when he was left home alone, went kind of over the top with just eating junk. So a Home Alone cocktail probably should be a super sugary cocktail, a decadent one. I have a few ingredients I could do something like that with. Speaking of sugar, the thing last night's stream, I was peeling citrus and juicing citrus. I said I was going to use the peel, and there I have covered it in an unrefined demerara sugar, and the demerara sugar has absorbed the citrus oils, and I mean it's still kind of crunchy, but it's going to syrup. So I'm going to add some water to that to make a sugar syrup for drinks. You're checking in on your way to work. Very nice of you to drop in. Nice to see you. Big Pat, you're going to be 33 next Saturday. You're younger than Macauley Culkin. Good on you. Chris, you've ordered disaster backpacks. Oh, yes. Hurricanes as well. I do not envy the US as you go into your winter. Coronavirus is probably going to hit high gear. And, of course, yeah, hurricanes and twisters and that shit. I was like, oh, I do quite worry how things are going to go. Like strip your bowel. You like my bowels? Yes, I'm gonna add some water to this in a minute and make a rich sugar syrup for the cocktail making. Chris, if you want survival plans, you should check out a guy. I mean, there's a million people, but there's a guy called Robert Evans. As a writer, a journalist and a podcaster. He does a few podcasts. He has a very good one called Behind the Bastards. But he grew up in Texas, and so, grew up around guns and survivalist stuff. And I'm trying to think. I think it was on an episode of the other podcast he's on, Worst Year Ever, I'd have to see if I can guess it. Tara Reid, prisoners, coronavirus, turning skills into action. That could be it. Rent strikes, billionaires. How to save your community. Oh, here you go. There's a good one. Was on the 24th of March this year on the Worst Year Ever podcast, titled How to Save Your Community When the Government Fails. And the one prior to that, 18th March, The Reasonable Person's Guide to Prepping. So those are two good ones, actually, if you're worried about how things are going, Chris. Very useful information. You wanted to go eat elephant ear on the beach this summer, but no. Yeah, God, you had more happening in your summer than we've had in our winter. I don't know that we're going to have much happening in summer. Good Spirit. Instagram is the Friendly Spirit. Oh, yes, you're going to post all your photo vocal booth later today. Cool. Definitely tag me and then let me know when that is up. Definitely. Oh, no. Locust Trippy, a pizza shop guy held you up talking about doom and gloom. Oh, dear. It's like he's got a captive audience while you're waiting for pizza, and he's going to exploit that. I know, Stella. Is that not slightly distressing news that Mac is 40? Time keeps marching on. Hearing other people's age always makes me feel older than my own age. So, yeah. And I mean, even within my family, like realizing I have 60-year-old siblings is like, fucking hell, really? It's quite off-putting. All right, I'm really quickly going to get some water and mix up. I boiled some water just before coming on. Should have cooled down a bit. Right, I'll fill this little measuring cup up. And I'm coming back. Right, so to my bowl of citrus and sugar, just adding like 250 mils of water. I'm not being very precise. It's like if a standard sugar syrup is 50% sugar, 50% sugar, 50% water, and sometimes there's a reason to have a richer, sweeter sugar syrup, and then some people do 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. I'm making a rich sugar syrup with the brown sugar here, but I'm not worrying too much about the proportions. The bag of sugar, I think, was 375 grams. And then there's a certain volume, and I don't know how much, is going to come from the citrus oil that's been extracted from the citrus peel. I am, of course, look at this. It's like a tasty bowl. I am, of course, going to separate the citrus peel. It's not staying in there. Mrs. Angry actually chops that up and uses that in cooking. And I put about 200 to 250 mils of water in there. So not exactly half. And the citrus oil will make up a bit of volume too. But it's definitely going to be a rich, it's very unsurprisingly It's very brown because it's from a brown sugar. I think this would be particularly good in rum drinks, actually. A robust sugar syrup is quite good in a lot of rum-based drinks. With some milder things like gin or vodka, it can overpower them. So you don't necessarily want it. A rich sugar syrup in gin and vodka-based drinks. Tequila's probably another good one for a richer sugar syrup, actually. This is an experiment. We'll see how you go. Good Spirit, you graduated 15 years ago. Yep, we all getting old. Stella, you freaked out when your brothers told you your niece got her L. She's 19 next month. Yep. Chris, you looked like Culkin when you were 9. Since you're 9 years younger than him, people mistook him from around Christmas. Okay, that is pretty funny, actually. Megalich, you've got the meaning of life, 42. Low Trooper, when you reach your 40s, is it too late to do young things? Nah. I continue to have a good time. I mean, okay, I'll be honest, my knees are pretty fucked now. So there's a lot of adventurous things I won't do. But I honestly do not lie around going, oh, I miss my youth. Oh, okay. The key is to be happy. Which, is not as straightforward as, just saying, be happy. But I don't find myself bemoaning the lost past. Within physical constraints, you can still do whatever you want. Raise the question if you should be doing certain things. Maybe life is just different and you do things, but I definitely don't agree with, young people go, oh, it's all over when you're 30. And then when you're in your 30s, you go, oh, God, I'm worried about turning 40. When you're 40s, I'm worried about turning 50. You always think about it, but don't have to let it get you down. And do what you do. Stella, we can also do young people. You're only as young as the person you feel. Yeah, Locust Trooper, I get the idea of it being scary, but it's what you make of it, man. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of platitude to go, oh, don't worry about it. Just, go on. I think it is natural to worry about it a bit, but your age doesn't have to dictate everything about you. You just, it's a very arbitrary thing, age. And you just got to find a way to deal with it. I did not see that, Megaleech. Did Boris Johnson say he intends to resign in 6 months because he's got lingering COVID health problems? I did not hear that. Chris, you pulled your eyes out on your 30th last year. Oh, dude. I understand for some reason those big, round, decade birthdays can be quite traumatic. But, hopefully you get over it. Yes, Locust Troop, in 16 years, you're going to be 50. Time does go quick, and, and it doesn't, you just make the best of it. We can't control time. There's no value in obsessing about it because we can't control it. No matter what you do, no matter what you think about, no matter what you obsess about, you can't change the passage of time. So there's not a lot of point in obsessing about it. You just got to be practical and realistic. All right, so I've dissolved the sugar. I need to find something to put it in. This one maybe. This will do. And I need a funnel. And I need a sieve. Alright, where's the sieve? Where is the big sieve? There it is. Alright, got the big sieve. Alrighty. So, where's got the Muppets theme in my head? Yeah, Stella, thinking we're going to be around in 16 years might be optimistic. So, that is good. It's a rich sherry, but it's got the citrus in it as well, which is nice. A bit warm at the moment, so used warm water. Oh, that is more than I thought. I thought this bottle might be foolishly big, and it's actually the right size. Oof. It's full. That rich syrup. No, it looks black. Oh my God. The green bottle is chroma keying. And then the stuff in it looks black. Oh my God, that's so weird. This fucking webcam is so weird. Yes, Heine recommending Logan's Run for a friend who's turning 30. That's sensitive. Locust Trooper, how old am I going to be in 16 years? Fucking old, dude. Like 70. But, life's an adventure. What's down here? So I might make a drink with this syrup a bit later. Oops. Okay, I spilled some syrup here. I better get a wet cloth. That's like, do you want ants? That's how you get ants. All right. Before it gets too sticky, wipe it all up. That's what she said. See what I did there? Made some sexual innuendo. Okay. Chris, you're going to drive out to a remote camp in a couple of weeks, get a cheap cabin, be just get. Look, that for your mental health, that actually sounds like a pretty good idea. Separate yourself from the ridiculousness that is happening. That sounds like self-care to me. Come on, last little bit of citrus peel. Come out. Anyway, put that there. Got a little bit of this syrup here. Might make a drink with that a bit later. How's this ice going? Is it coming out yet? No? Oh, man, there's still hasn't frozen, actually. Can see some bubbles. Okay, I'm going to put it back in the freezer. It's not going to happen. I'll have to try it tomorrow. Okay. Thought I might get to show it off tonight, but I'm not going to. Hopefully be frozen tomorrow. Takes so long to freeze. Earthwatch goes camping back to Zombieland. Okay, I did not. It's still sticky. Gross. I think maybe the cloth wasn't wet enough, which is also what she said. Ben Shapiro's wife said. Okay. Oh, righty. That's a bit better. Chris, you were having a great day. Got your e-bike assembled. Flying through town? Earthwater, you miss camping. Was your annual holiday. Been a little bit difficult to camp in Australia of late. A few challenges to camping. Chris, it's a Nacto, an awesome little bike. With your bad lungs and worse knees, it's nice to be able to ride a bike again. That sounds pretty good. Like that, Silla. Ben Shapiro's wife needs a care package of KY and a Jason Momoa calendar. That was, yeah, that was the weirdest thing. I mean, I'm all for making fun of Ben Shapiro, because he's such a fucking idiot and he's just not very smart. And the unintentionally making himself look that bad, as he seemed to be saying, the concept of a wet pussy is completely alien to both him and his wife, which is not really what he was saying. He was trying to be funny, and because he hates rap music, and he certainly hates the idea of women claiming their sexuality based on available evidence. And he was trying to mock the Cardi B WAP track and saying, like, if you need a mop and bucket, there's something wrong with you. Like, he's like, dude, you're not funny. You just sound very, very, very stupid. You're basically saying you don't understand hyperbole. But people didn't bother mocking him for his apparent inability to understand poetic hyperbole. They decided to take him literally, that he finds the concept of wet pussy very, very alien, and so never pleasured his wife or any other woman. He just makes a fool of himself so often. Locust Trooper, yes, I have noticed that the US COVID numbers, 1,000 plus dead every day, are very bad. Earthwater, got your first smoker today. Nice. So what, are you going to be smoking meats? What are you planning to smoke? There are all sorts of fun things you can do with that. Yes, Music Aviator, WAP. Never too early for the Jason Momoa thirst. I agree, Stella. Absolutely. I was thinking, are the US numbers markedly worse, or are they just the same bad? Because they have been bad for a long time. Over 1,000 dead a day. I think it's been averaging over 1,000 dead a day for a couple of weeks. Of course, they're just waiting for it to go off a cliff, because there are no realistic actions being taken to stop the spread. And the way this sort of disease spreads, or it takes hold, it ends up spreading exponentially. And a few people who think it's no big deal should have paid more attention. More attention in a school for mathematics, because exponential growth can lull you into a false sense of security when the numbers expanding or doubling are small. It's like it's not a disaster until it is, and then it's a fucking disaster. It's remarkable how often people underestimate the power of geometric growth, because it can sneak up on you. My favorite example of that. So I was just looking for something, I couldn't find it. Oh, you're going to be smoking meats, Earth Warrior. Cool. Damn, Chris, your hometown had a football game. High school, colleges don't play, but most of the town went to the game. Yep. People are gathering in large groups. Bad idea. Concerts and whatnot. Okay, I found what I was looking for. Okay. States reported, this is today, last 24 hours. States reported 634,000 tests, 37,000 new cases, death toll 1,100. So, wow, on the yesterday, they only reported 348 deaths. And today it's back up to 11. And that really low number actually took the 7-day average for the previous week to under 1,000. But now it's back over 1,000. Right, so he had 2 days in a row, 572 and 348 deaths, which is possibly lulling you into a false sense of security. This is the thing. This is so weird. This shit drags on for so long, and it's so unclear how things are ultimately going to play off. What do I think of Jordan Peterson? He's a cunt. He's an absolute cunt. If he'd stuck to his area of expertise, he could have done well, but he dived into politics and very reactionary politics, and he just colors things to suit his political agenda. He's a fuckwit. Fox fake people haven't been having hotel room orgies. I don't know if we're actually going to find out that those stories weren't true or were maybe seriously exaggerated. We'll see. The findings from that inquiry about the hotel quarantine in Melbourne should be out soon, and that will hopefully make it clearer what was true and what was hyperbole. Yes, Stella, Peterson is a massive hypocrite. Also, it really looks like he's going to kill himself with his own advice. Like, he is not doing well. Him and that utterly farcical all meat diet, which, you know, is just stupid beyond words. And I don't know, he convinced himself, or got convinced, to go. Well, he got addicted to antidepressant meds, and he got convinced to go off. Basically, his advice is so bad, it looks like it's going to kill him. So, yeah, is It's like Peterson said one or two halfway intelligent things, and then got so full of himself he just started spouting absolute rubbish, and he just had all these people fawning over him. It's ridiculous. Fox, if it was a hotel room orgy, at least we know wave two started with a bang. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sound the air horn. Wah, wah, wah. Yes. Yes, there is that. So, yeah. Yeah, and here we are, as you know, the US is getting tens of thousands of cases a day, 1,000 deaths a day. And we're here worried with our hundreds of cases. And it's ripping through the old people, this one. That's why, as callous as it may seem, for the last couple of weeks, I haven't been paying any attention to the death figures, even though I think like actually today, might have been the most deaths recorded in a single day, because they're almost all the older people, and which is not to disregard the seriousness of the tragedy for those involved. It's just that once it became clear this infection was ripping through the aged care facilities, nothing we could, like, it was too late. Once we realized how bad it was too late. Hundreds of people were going to die. That's the nature of this disease. If it's infected a bunch of very old people, it's going to kill them. It's going to kill a lot of them. So I haven't really been paying attention to the death figures, except when they say something like 30-year-old died. That gets your attention. Stupidest thing Jordan Peterson said. It's very hard to narrow it down to one. But the highlight was always for me the lobster thing. Why he's trying to justify a right-wing political ideology by saying it's natural. He came up with this thing that even lobsters have a hierarchical structure in their society. So therefore, hierarchy in human society is natural. And it's just like, that is so mind-bogglingly fucking stupid. It's really hard to take it apart because it's stupid just on its face. Like, it's absolutely nonsensical just on its face. But the idea of comparing a really pretty unintelligent crustacean that we diverted on the evolutionary path with billion years ago and saying that has any relevance to us as, you know, thinking hominids, it's absolutely ridiculous. Hello and hello to you, Kirsten. Yes, Earthwarrior, you are correct. The fact that oversight of aged health care is federal did sort of spell doom for those people because the libs are real fucking bad at caring about people. Oh, I finished my highball. What shall we do now? What are we going to do? Now, I kind of want to make that highball that they had on the live stream we were watching, Kirsten, Starwood Twofold, and I've got some here, I think. Fever Tree Indian Tonic Water. I might actually do that. I don't have highballs very often in this live stream, but I might try that one. Ooh, Kirsten, you might be able to help me because I wasn't completely following when they were talking about this highball and how it tasted. They ended up referencing Lillet Blanc. Were they saying twofold and the tonic? Uh, it's not going to be flat. See, hissed. It's not flat. When they started talking about Lillet Blanc, were they just saying it reminded them of Lillet Blanc, or they were suggesting this would go really well if you added a bit of Lillet Blanc in it? Because it's the thing. Locust Trooper, why did we get Melbourne, Victoria get most of the second wave of COVID? Combination of was just bad luck and a couple of mistakes that were made. It was bad luck that we had some particularly infectious people in hotel quarantine, and a couple of bad decisions were made around the management of the hotel quarantine, and it spiraled from there. Like if we didn't have a lot of infected people in the quarantine, we wouldn't have had the problem. If the other cities had had a higher number of infected people in quarantine, they almost definitely would have had exactly the same problems. So there was an element of bad luck that there was clearly a number of people in hotel quarantine who did have the virus, and then some bad decisions were made about managing the hotel quarantine, and it got somewhat out of control. Oh, yes, I did see that, Stella. A Western Australian government seeking advice on whether Clive Palmer can be declared a vexatious litigant. Okay, Kirsten, it was add lemon and Lillet. Okay, I've got some fresh squeezed lemon juice, and I've got Cokie Americano, which is very similar to Lillet. Okay, I'm going to make a highball. Of course, if I wanted it to be extra fizzy, I could make it all in my fizz maker and then add some fresh. Maybe I should add some fresh fizz to it. Chris, why were the hotels used for quarantine? It was decided, and this was fairly universal in Australia, the number of people that were coming in, it was decided, could be best managed by having them, because there was no one in the hotels. So it was decided it could be best managed by, no, that's really fizzy. I don't need to refizz it. It was decided the quarantine could be best managed in the hotels. And some mistakes were made. So it didn't go that well. All right, we're going to get a block of ice. Okay, so blanc, lemon juice. All right, get your shit together. And twofold. Alrighty. Let's get this show on the road. And I'll get my jigger. Rinse the jigger off. Keep your jigger clean. All right. Yes, Fox, mistakes were made, like the possible orgy. Because how did we get low numbers compared to other countries? It helps that we're on the other side of the fucking world and we're really isolated. That's a really, really big part of it. That we are so isolated. We had comparatively less travel, because that's the big way it spreads, travel. And we were able to put some controls in place relatively quickly. But the biggest thing it saved us is how isolated we are. Same as New Zealand. Let's have a little double of twofold. And put a little bit of lemon juice in as well. Yes, Chris, it's like they've never seen a zombie movie before. A little bit of lemon juice. And a little bit of the Cookie Americano as a Lillet Blanc substitute. Do. Just friggin' making this up. And then top it off with a sody again. Just a little stir. All right. Locust Trooper. China was able to arrest the spread of COVID because they are a totalitarian country and they can just lock things the fuck down. Like anyone complaining about Melbourne, not quite the same with soldiers patrolling the streets and sealing people up in buildings. You know what that wants? That wants some of my syrup in it as well. Stir that. Yeah, that's it. Fox used to wonder how the world would be destroyed by a zombie virus. Wouldn't people stay away from each other with such a done? Yep, we've got to take it back. Every time we've criticized a horror movie for people doing dumb, selfish to the point of suicidal things and said, people wouldn't do that. Yes, they would. Locust Trooper, it was certainly impressive how China locked down by having entire cities under house arrest. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that little bit of syrup was good. Yes. Yes. Using runner just because I coughed. Hi, Strictly Sega. How's it going? Ugh. I swear to God, every time I go out, like, I go to the supermarket about twice a week now. I go out into crowds and I go, man, is my throat tickly? I just start to get really hypochondriac feelings. Is my throat really scratchy? Is there something actually? Heine, you've seen Train to Busan now. Kind of agree about the ending. Wasn't that bad? No, I don't think it was terrible. It was just, I felt like the guy suddenly did something really stupid and they did it just to have that ending in the movie. And I was like, that doesn't sit right with me. But it was still pretty good. Chris, you explained to your aunt who is a feverish Trump supporter, government runs everything, so it's easy for them to stop the diseases. Yeah. In China, they can just fucking shut shit down. Locust Trooper, when are we going to have pool parties again? Well, Christmas is a long way off. Who the fuck knows what'll be happening? No, Megaleech, I've never had the test because I've never had any real symptoms. I've just had imaginary ones. I've gone, is that tickling throat? And then I get home and go, no, it's not. And every now and then I go, particularly when I wake up, I don't know about anyone else, but if there's nights where asleep with my mouth open, I wake up and my throat's really dry. And I go, is this the Rona? And I have a drink of water and go, no, it's not the Rona. My throat was just dry. Chris, your mum's getting tested every 2 weeks at a new job for free. Does she work in health, or is it just? That's fucking great because, yeah, the risk is you're being exposed to it all the time. Yes, Locust Trooper, one of the last times I went into the city was to get my flu shot from my workplace. Should say reminds you of the Strepsil Godfather ads. Yes, I'm a bit like that first thing in the morning. Particularly, I have found if I have a couple of drinkies before bedtime, I'm much more likely to sleep. And so I'm a bit worse to wear in the morning. Stamina Rose, you're allergic to cats, keep getting scared to be sick. It must be really rough for people with allergies at the moment, with the sneezing and coughing and everyone going, it's allergies, I'm always like this. But yeah, it's the interesting side effect. I don't know how much this has happened in the US, but in Australia, because of all the restrictions we put in place to try and manage the Rona, there's been almost no normal influenza this winter. So yeah, Kirsten, you had the poke a couple of weeks ago. Results 24 hours. Yeah, they're getting pretty fast with the results. I also heard there is a somewhat kinder, gentler test now. When they jam it up your nose, it's just kind of up to here and wiggle it about, rather than tilt your head back and jam it till it actually goes through your nasal passage and hits the back of your throat. But yeah, it's a thing. Yes, Locust Trooper, everyone's my special little friend. That is a true thing. Stamina, you sneezed at a candle smell once. People clear the air. Yeah. Megalich, you got your result in 28 hours. That's not bad. I mean, what was interesting, if we don't get a vaccine, and we're not getting a widely distributed vaccine inside of 12 months. We're just not. Like, it would be a Herculean and absolutely unprecedented Herculean task if everyone had made available to them a vaccine by this time next year. Absolutely unheard of. So, you know, hey, so you didn't get your power outage, so that is good. Yeah. Because you had a sneezing fit from the malt delivery at work, so they sent you home. Oh my goodness! I sometimes get like a tickle in my nose, and it makes me sneeze. But I can kind of tell the difference between just a sneeze and when you have a cold and whatnot. So yeah, that's the other thing. I haven't had a cold all winter, and I have been around people who had colds, not people who had the Rona. Colds. When will flights be back? Like Stripper? Do you mean international flights? Dude, international travel is going to be really restricted for the foreseeable future. Yes, Megalachini news on the Russian vaccine. It's bullshit. Yes, music. I was ScoMo 30 made a deal to get stamina. You can't believe how angry people are using stem cells to search for vaccine. I suspect a bit of double talk there. For those who missed it, I think it was a Catholic archbishop in Sydney, and I think they actually got together with an Anglican bishop and a Greek Orthodox bishop to write this letter that said you shouldn't develop a vaccine based on stem cells, which originally came from an aborted fetus. And as some doctors had pointed out, well, we've been using this stem cell line for decades, and the objection hasn't been there before. I actually strongly suspect the bishop who's pushing. I strongly suspect he's actually a conspiracy fuckwit, and he's using this fetal stem cell thing as a cover for, like, he probably listens to Pete fucking Evans. I love that Strictly Sega. The Russian vaccine's like the fake fifth golden ticket. The Russian thing is obviously bullshit. It's like there are two things you need to know about a potential vaccine. Uh, One is that it works, that it achieves what you want it to, and two is that it doesn't have a negative uh, impact on people. See, the thing is, and the negative impact of medication like a vaccine, if it's not properly tested, if it's a couple of percent of the population and you don't test it and you send it out to everyone, that's, in the big countries, that's millions of people having severe adverse reactions, possibly death. That's why it takes so long to get vaccines to market, because you have to test it on a sufficiently large group to be confident you're not seeing any outlier adverse reactions. And almost everyone is dubious on whether this Russian vaccine works. But absolutely everyone says they could not possibly have tested it for safety. Just isn't possible. So Putin doing this is a huge risk on two fronts. Namely, the high probability that it won't work. So it will lead people to mistrust any future proposed vaccines. And second, that if it starts having adverse health reactions in the population, that's bad. It's bad for the people who have the bad reactions, but it's bad overall, again, weakening confidence in vaccines. Putin is just a fucking asshole. Yeah, Stella, it is actually a cell line from an aborted fetus from the 50s or 60s. And it's ridiculous. Yes, Safa, it's a popularity stunt from Putin, trying to act like he is the ultimate man, like he has the solution. This has got if you like, it's the little bit of edge is coming from the tonic, and probably a little bit from the aromatized wine as well. Actually, and I did put lemon juice in it as well. There are a lot of reasons this has got a little bit of edge on it. Oh, Earthwarata, I saw that one, an actual photo from some meeting of people where Putin's offering them tea at this, global leaders thing. And the people going like, no, 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 no. And everyone's going like, yeah, that's how you react if Putin offers you tea. Like, fuck, no, shit, no. Ooh. Oh my God. Yes, okay. Stamina and Strictly Sega, South Park's version of stem cells. Christopher Reeves cracking the neck of a fetus and drinking the fluids. Yes, not exactly how stem cells work. But Savvy Lukashenko is a crazy old madman. Yeah, that's true. That is also true. There's a lot of that going about. There is a lot of that going about. So, yes, yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of deranged politicians in the world today. I mean, God, speaking of deranged politicians, I feel like it's ages since we've heard from Bolsonaro in Brazil or Duterte in the Philippines, Filipinas, because they're both loose units and they're both in countries that look like they were going to do real badly. And I mean like real badly in the old Rona sweepstakes. I mean, you get someone like Bolsonaro in Brazil, who is he's an actual fascist, someone who promotes traditional fascist ideology, and he hates the poor. And Brazil has a lot of poor and impoverished indigenous people, and the favelas, the slums. He wants them to die. He actually wants a sizable proportion of the Brazilian population to die. That would be a success to him. He'd have to pretend like it wasn't, but it would be a success to him. If, like, say the slums of Rio, if they had a 50% fatality rate, Bolsonaro would fucking celebrate. Earthwater saying Bolsonaro threatened to hit a journo. Yeah, that makes sense. Locust Trooper, yes, we do have lots of nutcases running lots of countries. It is pretty fucking weird. Safa, there was always the rumor that the actual Nazis, the World War II Nazis who escaped at the end of the war, there was always the rumor that a lot of them fled to like Argentina and other parts of South America. And in fact, I do believe a number of them were actually caught down there. But there's also the idea that they infected local politics with their rather extreme views. It was a very popular trope in fiction for a while. I think the most famous one was a book and movie called The Boys from Brazil. Gregory Peck played Dr. Josef Mengele, who had escaped to Argentina and was continuing with his Nazi experiments in Argentina. But yeah, that was a popular trope for a while, Nazis in South America. So this is the thing. I think it was quite popular in the 70s when it was still possible for a lot of the Nazi seniors who escaped to be alive. Where it's not really possible for them to be alive anymore because they're too old. Surviving World War II veterans were very young. They weren't, the Nazi high command were already getting on in years during the war. So by the 70s, they were very old. Oh, yes, so you can say yes, the baby Hitlers. There is one bit in it that's absolutely beautiful. The basic plot is the Nazis had developed all these clones of Hitler and had them, born and raised by people who didn't realize. And they decide that to have their new Hitler, the children have to have the same upbringing, and that includes not having a father, because Hitler didn't have a father. And so they are killing the fathers of the babies. And there's this one beautiful scene in it where two old Nazis talk to one another, and one of them's who's got the job of killing the fathers is saying to one of his old comrades, like, I'm doing it for the cause, but it's a terrible order and I don't think I can do it. And the guy goes, what's the order? And he's going, I have to kill, these guys who are the fathers of the baby. And the guy says, don't be ridiculous. It's the orders of the fatherland. It's for the Reich. You have to do it. Don't be weak. And the guy just goes, you're the target, and like throws him off this dam. And it was just this beautiful thing of this Nazi doing this bullshit of follow orders, and the orders was to kill him, which was fucking brilliant. And yes, Stella, in Starship Troopers, as Strictly Sega and Shellformer point out, it's a fascist world government on Earth, as just our protagonist is from Argentina, I think. Buenos Aires. Yes, Rico was from Buenos Aires, and his parents were killed when the bugs launched an asteroid at Earth. But yes, the world government in Starship Troopers is fascist, and what was hilarious because the filmmakers They knew what they're doing. Like I think the guy who wrote Starship Troopers was a fucking fascist. Like he thought this fascist government was great, and Paul Verhoeven and the other filmmakers didn't think fascism was great, but they went, "Okay, I'm going to really play up the fascism part of it," and they said it was quite funny where being interviewed by journos or appearing at sci-fi cons, people going, "Hey, it kind of seems like that government's fascist, and that would be bad." And Bowman's going, "Yeah, that was our point. They're actually fascists, and they're not cool. It's not cool." And it's funny they were saying like people seem to think that the filmmakers weren't conscious that this government in their film was fascist, and they're going, they were fascist. That was the whole thing. The whole vibe we put in is they're fascists. And Space Nazi Doogie Howser was hilarious. Shelf Warmer, you know a bit about Heinlein, and I don't, I have to admit. Some good qualities, some negative, as we all do. Change his views, not black and white with him. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know very much about Heinlein at all. Just that he was somewhat of a giant of 20th century science fiction. He's one of the big. He's probably top 10 actually, and that's a pretty big call. But I reckon it's actually pretty safe to put Robert Heinlein in the top 10 influential 20th century science fiction writers. Lex Trip was Tony Abbott a fascist? No, he's an authoritarian and a bully. And authoritarians and bullies tend to show fascistic tendencies. But he's not a fascist. He's a piece of shit, and he's absolutely an authoritarian. He worships authoritarian power structures, but he's not a fascist per se. He's an authoritarian and a bully, and a fucking jerk, honestly. Shelf, you reckon Starship Troopers? Chris, off to bed. Good night. Take care. Yeah, Japan and their mech fetishization is really, really interesting. I have to admit, for all their cheesiness, and I have no time for people. I'm just going to say Pacific Rim is a really good movie because it's robots fighting monsters. And that's what happens. Robots fight monsters. You're never going to get a better giant robot fighting giant monster movie than Pacific Rim. It was just great. It's hilarious to me if people try and pick it apart. And I just want to say, dude, it was about giant robots fighting giant monsters. It's what they promised, and it's what they delivered. Giant robots fighting giant monsters. Yes, Arthur, the second Pacific Rim is a bit ordinary. Oh, there was powered armor in the Starship Troopers book. Wow, I bet they wish they put powered armor in it. Locust Trooper, do I literally think Tony Abbott will be Prime Minister again? Or do I think there'll be someone like Tony Abbott as Prime Minister? Because we definitely will not have Tony Abbott Prime Minister again. And I think it's almost inevitable we'll have another Prime Minister who's as big a fuckwit as Tony Abbott. Safa, they weren't actually Aussies. Yeah. They The two Aussie characters, one was English and one was South African, and now I understand why Southern Americans fucking hate movies and TV shows where a non-Southerner plays a Southerner. I mean, to me, it's like, oh no, that's a good Southern accent, and Southerners go, no, it fucking isn't. And the Australian accents in Pacific Rim were fucking terrible. And I never understood why they didn't put Australians in the roles, because you can't throw a stick in Hollywood without hitting an Australian. And they're not expensive, a lot of them. So what about the Howard surgery? Was it appendicitis? I heard he got rushed to hospital, and then I kind of heard it was appendicitis. I have to. My big hope was the fucking Rona. Him and his right wing fuckwits minimizing the risks. Okay, Locust Trip, you're asking someone like Tony Abbott. I think someone like Tony Abbott being Prime Minister again is basically inevitable. I tell you, virtually the only thing I didn't like about the Starship Troopers movie is it was quite stupid when the infantry were on the bug planet and fighting the bugs, and they were shooting the bugs 20 or 30 times and the bugs weren't going down. And it's going like, no one has that much ammunition, okay? If you aren't taking the bug down in a couple of shots, you're just absolutely fucked. And that, I think, was a mistake, the way they had the infantry just firing with apparently endless magazines, and the bugs being shot 20 or 30 times and still not going down. That just bugged the shit out of me. That was about the one bit of the movie I didn't like. Ooh, Strictly Sega. American dubbed on the Mad Max films. That would be ugly as fuck. The only one I've seen was the Road Warrior, Mad Max 2. The American release overdubbed the voiceover with an American voice. But yeah. Well, okay. Earth Warrior 2. I really wouldn't compare it to the A-Team. Well, I know what you mean about the never-ending gunfire with no injuries, because they weren't allowed to injure anyone on the TV. But, you know, the Starship Troopers was a gritty-ish war movie with lots of blood and guts. And the bugs were getting shot and having holes ripped in them, but kept coming. And it's like you would have known instantly, like, oh, I just shot that 20 or 30 times and it's still coming. And there are literally 1,000 of them coming towards me. So no one has that much ammunition. Like I said, that's the one thing that bugs the shit out of me about the Starship Troopers movie is how the bugs didn't go down when they were shot. It was just dumb. Like a stripper, is Scummo like a Tony Abbott bully? No, Scummo is different. He is a piece of shit. He's a lying, smarmy, smug, fucking cunt, and he has that horrible, smug look that makes you want to slap it right off his face. But he's quite different to Abbott. Strictly Sega, you had the American Laserdisc box set 10 minutes in the first movie. You know, fuck this shit. Yeah, I would be very off-put if they'd overdubbed all, because dubbing always looks and sounds bad, basically. But yeah, the one that I've seen locally that some versions of it are overdubbed is Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. The voiceover uh, in some versions, the original Australian voiceover was changed to an American. Yeah, no, John, they had to shoot the bugs in a specific spot, but they didn't, is what I'm saying. And the point being, if in an actual conflict you can shoot a single enemy 20 or 30 times without taking them down, you are doomed. You are absolutely fucking doomed. You do not stand a chance. And you would recognize that close to instantly. And they never addressed the fact that they were absolutely fucking doomed if they couldn't shoot the bugs dead. And it just annoyed the fucking shit out of me. Earthworker, I also didn't know there was American dubbed Mad Max. It's a very off-putting thought. Happened to watch a bit of Fury Road again the other day. I gotta rewatch Fury Road in full. I was watching it on my laptop. I gotta watch it on a big screen on the TV. That is, Fury Road is the best film of the last 10 years. It's fucking great. The yeah, no, just the fact that you can make a movie that's just a road chase, a brief pause, and then turn around and do the road chase again, and to have it be that fucking good is absolutely amazing. Shellformer, this is opinion. You're saying it was supposed to be like that. Who pushed the mindless troopers? My opinion is I don't agree. I think that is the one bit of bad filmmaking. It made no sense whatsoever. And admittedly, as I'm saying, that's opinion. That is my opinion of it, that it made no sense whatsoever. And it's the one thing that really fucking pissed me off about the movie. Again, Locust Trooper Margaret, there's a huge difference between a conservative, even a hardline bigoted conservative, and a fascist. There's different mechanisms. Margaret Thatcher was a hardline conservative. She was a bigot. She was homophobic. She was racist. She pushed homophobic, racist, and colonialist laws. She was an authoritarian. She was absolutely an authoritarian. But yes. I do agree, Strictly Sega. Yang's doing Aussie accents is usually quite bad. I tell you who was good. Fucking I want to get his name right. I keep thinking it's Dev. I think it's Dev Patel. But I'm gonna. Let me see. Yes, Dev Patel in the he is an English actor of Indian heritage, I believe. In the Australian movie Lion, he plays there's an Indian boy who was orphaned and was raised by Australian parents. So Dev Patel, as an young adult, he grew up in Australia, and he does an Australian accent. I reckon Dev Patel has about the best Australian accent I have heard a non-Australian actor do. Like, it's close to flawless. It is very good. It's not exaggerated. It doesn't wander. I would rate Dev Patel as having pretty much the best Australian accent I've heard from a non-Australian actor. Yes, that's what I thought, because he's English, Indian heritage, and in this movie he plays the adult who, as a kid, was orphaned in India and ended up being raised by Australian foster parents. And his Australian accent in Lion is fucking flawless. He's very good. And he's done such a great range of movies too. He's played an Indian guy, like in The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. He was the nerd building robots in Chappie, the Neil Blomkamp film set in South Africa. He was great in that. I love Chappie. For all its stupidity, I really love the movie Chappie. Okay, now Locust Trooper with the Philippines President Duterte. He is very close to a fascist. He definitely loves fascist ideology. He abuses state power to straight up murder people. There's probably some Central and Eastern European dictators who are very close to qualifying as a fascist. And Duterte in the Philippines and Bolsonaro in Brazil are very close to qualifying as fascists. Sally, you watched Adoration on iView the other day. Robin Wright does an admirable job at an Australian accent. Oh, okay. I have not seen that one. And I like Robin Wright, so I might check that out. Yes. Earthwater, the Philippines does have a history of strong-arm presidents. They were under a dictatorship for many a decade under Marcos. Prior to that, they'd been a colony of Spain. And after the Spanish-American War, the Americans took over and weren't legally owners of the Philippines, but in practical terms, they controlled what happened in the Philippines. Yeah, see, Locust Trooper, your mum going back to the Philippines, is really high risk. Ever since Duterte just told people to murder anyone involved in the drug trade, is pretty bad. So, John, there's an anime you watch comparison of all different Australian accents from different dubs. Best one was the German dub. There you go. Strictly Sega, Meryl Streep as Lindy Chamberlain was pretty good. Her Australian accent was pretty good. But I definitely rate Dev Patel as better. Oh, okay. So that's a movie, Adoration. So it's on iView, Support Aussie Cinema, of course. All right, I'm going to try to remember to check that one out. Adoration on iView. With Robin Wright. Because Robin Wright's in one of my all-time favorite films, The Princess Bride. I love that film so much. It's so good. Like such a good script, and all the performances are really good. Great film. Yeah, see, Locust Trooper, the Philippines is a great place. The Philippine people are great, and it's an incredibly beautiful part of the world. It's just this thing with dictatorships. Yeah, pity the poor fools who, when the Americans beat the Spanish in the Spanish-American War and just said, the Philippines is now free. The Philippines is free of Spain. And pity the poor suckers in the Philippines who went, yeah, free from you too. Fuck off. Because they got fucking murdered by the Americans. If you stood up against the American colonizers, they fucking killed you. So yeah, and there was an insurrection. People who took the Americans seriously at "you're free," and they said that means free from you too, dickhead. And the Americans went, not so much. So there's a very dark and ugly history with the Americans in the Philippines. Okay, Stella, iView has a category just for Australian films and they don't stand there long. Oh, Wake in Fright was on there. Good God, that's a classic. I mean, I saw that so long ago. Like, Wake in Fright is from the 60s, I think. 60s or early 70s. Classic of Australian cinema. Such a weird fucking film. City boy who goes out to the country, a fucking sheep shearing station, and just has weird fucking misadventures. Christ, there were some weird films made in Australia in the 60s and 70s. There's oh God, it's like there's a doco and I haven't seen it and I want to, called Not Quite Hollywood, about the type of films that were being made in Australia in the 70s, known as Ozploitation films. Oh, Jesus, there were some fucking wild films made in Australia in the 70s. Justin, hello. How are you? Locust Trooper, look, you can never tell, man. You're saying it might take ages to get better. Sometimes change happens really unexpectedly. Sometimes it takes forever. Sometimes there's a tipping point and change comes. At the moment, Duterte's pseudo-fascism is popular with a lot of people. So I don't think it's going to get better for a while. I think Stella Tarantino obsesses over Wake in Fright. Never seen it. Yeah, I have seen it. I remember bits and pieces of it. But yeah, I couldn't tell you much about it. I just remember it's weird misadventures of city boy who goes into the bush. Justin, you were invited to a dog's 10th birthday. Well, I hope you took an appropriate present, or I hope you're planning to take an appropriate present. I wonder if this is... I'm thinking wedding anniversaries. Like a stripper, you reckon Duterte's popular because he hates America, but he loves Trump. Duterte loves Trump. Trump loves Duterte. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Is it Duterte or Duterte? I don't know. Zafra, it's International Dogs Day today. I think I saw that as well, actually. The fucking days, like, I'm always looking up days, say, can I have a theme for this live stream? For instance, today, like, I look up, I just look up through Google, I go National Day and put the date. So, like, today is 26 August. So, and there are two sites that pop up. One's called National Today, and it has that a weird American thing of calling them holidays when they're not holidays. It's just a commemorative day. But anyway, this says the 26th is Women's Equality Day and National Dog Day. And the other one that has a lot is called National Day Calendar. And they say the 26th is National Web Mistress Day and National Dog Day, National Women's Equality Day, and National Cherry Popsicle Day. Well, there you go. Web Mistress. This is like 90s. Who's old enough to remember the early web where you referred to the person who designed websites as a webmaster or a web mistress? Fucking 90s. But I think National Web Mistress sounds like someone you're having an affair with on the internet. Or is that just me? That's what that made me think of. The other thing I do is look up the date on Wikipedia, because when you look up dates in Wikipedia, they give you major events and births and deaths, and also religious observance. Oh, what the fuck? I just missed something. Ugh, I did the wrong thing. Okay. 26 August. So, for instance, today, in the year 683, Yazid I's army kills 11,000 people in Medina, including notable Sahabas in the Battle of Al-Harra. There you go. Oh, that's a good one. Crecy was a really pivotal battle on this day in 1346 in France. An invading English army easily defeated a French one that was twice its size. I've talked about Crecy before because there's a really good comic adaptation of it. Oh, and in 1768, on this day, Captain James Cook set sail from England on board the HMS Endeavour. There you go. Big one for Australia, for white Australia. Oh, and also the eruption of Krakatoa happened on this day. It exploded, and the noise of the explosion was literally heard around the world. It's regarded as the biggest explosion to happen since humans have been around. So it's Krakatoa Day, or as what they call it in Doctor Who, Volcano Day. Comes up in Doctor Who a bit. Yes, pronouncing it too turd, I agree, Stella. Oh, John, you've got Not Quite Hollywood on DVD. There you go. Yeah, see, Stella, I was the same. The web mistress sounds like an online affair, BDSM cam girl, something like that. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. Honey, you think the Toba explosion was bigger? I've never heard of it. In Sumatra. Oh, for fuck's sake, that was 75,000 years ago. If you're saying there were humans around, that's being so fucking pedantic. Oh, that's right, Justin. Volcano Day was Pompeii. Thank you. My brain was often the thing. The Toba explosion was 70 fucking 5,000 years ago, for fuck's sake. Who was born today apart from Macauley Culkin? Was there anyone else fun? Looking through the names, and I'm not recognizing any of them. Sparky Adams, that is a great name. He was an American baseball player, born in 1894. Never heard of him. Peggy Guggenheim, American-Italian art collector. I don't know if that's who the Guggenheim Museum is named after. It kind of suggests it would be, but I don't know. Mother Teresa was born on this day in 1910. There you go. Still don't regret making Macaulay Culkin more important than her. All of these things, all of these names, not recognizing them. Oh, no, I'm not recognizing. Oh, no, that's not someone I thought it was. Oh, this is such a good name. In 1951, Gerd Bonk was born. He was a German weightlifter, and he died in 2014. That's a great name, though. Gerd Bonk. That sounds like a good. That almost sounds like a good name for a really percussive band. Gerd Bonk. Very onomatopoeic name. Ooh, Shirley Manson, lead singer of Garbage, was born on this day in 1966. There you go. And then Macaulay Culkin. Chris Pine was also born in 1980, American actor. It's 40 today. There you go. Chris Pine and Macaulay Culkin, exactly the same age. How weird. Well, I don't know why I think that's weird, but I do. Yeah, apparently, yeah, Stella Krakatoa affected the climate for about 5 years afterwards. Yes, that's right. The Pompeii episode, Peter Capaldi was in it before he was the Doctor. Yes, Justin, a super volcano in Yellowstone would be very bad. That would absolutely spell the end of human civilization. So for a 4K release of Home Alone is coming on September 15th. I don't really see the value in that, quite honestly. Why we need a high definition version of Home Alone. Ugh. That's strictly saying Mac was on Red Letter Media talking about hackers. Good video. What about hackers in general or the 90s movie Hackers? Which of these things? It's really funny. Like you look up, there was a period, I don't know if it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, fucking time has no meaning. Um, really dodgy looking pictures of Macaulay Culkin, like looking like shit, and they're saying, "Oh, he's on drugs. He's ruining his life. He's fucking poor little Kevin McAllister is all fucked up." But he looks really good now. Um, maybe he was going through a rough patch. It wouldn't be surprising with everything he's been through if he went through a rough patch. But he looks really good now. More power to him. That's why when I found a picture to use as the thumbnail for this, the first one I found comparing little Kevin McAllister screaming was one of these really seedy looking pictures of when he potentially wasn't so good. And I didn't want to use that because that was some tabloid bullshit. But then, I found another one where he looked much better. Because he does. He looks much better these days. Locust Trooper, I have not been to Thailand, no. Spent a couple of weeks in the Philippines, but I haven't been to Thailand. Justin, you feel old because you're 31. We had this whole discussion earlier about how old everyone feels. But yes, Macaulay Culkin is 40, which is really weird to me. Miss Covey, you're getting Yellowstone Supervolcano is a good show for 31st December 2020. As the thing is, it could happen. Most seismologists say we don't have any indication it's going to happen, but we can't tell you it's not going to happen. But yes, a supervolcano erupting under Yellowstone, that would just be the end of human civilization. That would just be it. We'd be done. Okay, I don't know that one's strictly Sager. In 2006, he was in a band where he played famous songs and changed the lyrics to pizza-related topics. Still, yes, Yellowstone would be very bad for America. So 2020, yeah, no, it would be bad for the world. It would just be chaos. COVID was first reported. I thought it was reported prior to 31 December 2019, because that's why it's called COVID-19, because it was first identified in 2019. Locust Trooper, will I go to Thailand? So long as they don't know who I am, because they have these laws where you're not allowed to disrespect the king. And I find laws like that fucked. So when there was a story about they were enforcing this law called Les Majestes, that you could be jailed for insulting the king, I made a video that said the king of Thailand was a cunt who fucks goats, because I fucking hate laws like that. So I'm sure they wouldn't know me. But technically, there is a whole bunch of countries around the world where I can't go because I found out about laws that said you weren't allowed to say a certain thing. So I made a video where I said the thing. I'm sure no one's keeping a record of any of it. Not that important. But technically, I can't go to Thailand because I made the video saying the the king fucks goats. Locust Trooper, I've stayed overnight in Japan, but I've never, really been there. Technically, I got a Japan stamp in my passport. I stayed there overnight for a flight to America, but I didn't really see anything. Would like to go to Japan because both my kids are real sort of Japan files and they speak Japanese quite well. So I'd actually like to go with them and, have them be the organizers of everything. Stelly, there is considerable debate over the potential magnitude of Yellowstone. Probably the thing is we don't know. As again, the seismologists say we have no indication that such a bad thing is going to happen, but we can't actually rule it out because it's incredibly volatile. It's too volatile and random to predict with any accuracy. But yeah, the probability is Yellowstone won't erupt. That won't happen. But it's one of those things. It's one of those swords of Damocles hanging over our head. Solar flares from the sun could black out all electronics around the world, like permanently destroy all fucking computer memories around the world, blow out all our electronics. That's a real thing that could happen. Celestial body, asteroid meteor could hit us. A pandemic 10 times worse than the one we're facing now could easily happen. Even just antibiotic resistant infections could accelerate to such a point where even basic surgery was a very high risk. Like 50-50 chance you'd die if surgery was performed on you. That's a very real possibility. Antibiotic resistant infections. A lot of medical people are super fucking worried about that. Of course, our old friend climate change and the never quite gone away threat of nuclear annihilation. We've got so many fun things that could just fuck us. Yes, Megaleech, gamma ray burst, who the fuck knows? There are just so many fucking things. You don't want to dwell on it because it'll drive you crazy, and there's no value in dwelling on things you can't control. Because it'll just drive you fucking crazy if you do that. And you can't change it. These are things you can't change. You can't even influence. So it does not make any sense to fixate on them. So, you looked it up, Stella. Thank you. From the United States Geological Survey. The rhyolite magma chamber beneath Yellowstone's 5 to 15% molten. Rest is solidified but still hot, so it's unclear if there's even enough magma beneath the caldera to feed an eruption. Which, as I said, is the majority of the seismologists say it's probably not going to happen. But it's really fucking random, and you can't say it won't happen. You can say it's not likely. Yeah, Megalith Cthulhu, absolutely. Aliens, a fucking alien. We suddenly find out, Independence Day was a prediction, and really malevolent aliens will come past and fucking kill us all. So, if you ever want cheering up, just consider the number of things that could absolutely lay waste to human civilization, because that's just the fucking way it is. Justin, never say never, man. Never say never. Anything could happen. Yes, Strictly Sager, I've seen some very small highlights of the Republican convention, and it is really fucking wild. Their decision to paint boring conservative Joe Biden as a dangerous radical commie fucking does my head in. It's just, they just lie. All right. Put that in there. Put that in there. Wait, that's what I want. My new syrup I just made. Just going to put a little bit more in my syrup bottle. That made actually much more syrup than I was expecting. Mega Leech, I have watched the first episode of Lovecraft Country. We'll be watching more, see how it turns out. It's kind of funny because, and this is deliberate, Lovecraft Country, I think, is it a Stephen King story? But it's a, supernatural horror type shenanigan. Set in the mid-20th century. And these black folks here tell of a legacy they're entitled to that's in the deep south in America. So they go off on a quest to find this Lovecraft country that's, their inheritance they're due. And of course, the central, I don't know if joke's the right word, but a central theme, while there are monsters and supernatural things happening where they go, the deep south of America in the mid-20th century is dangerous enough to black folks without any supernatural monsters. The risk of black folks being killed randomly by rednecks and corrupt racist sheriffs is very high. So they're at very, very high risk without any monsters. John, I know it's a Lovecraft type stuff, but it's not a Lovecraft story. So it's an original thing riffing on H.P. Lovecraft? Yeah, I wasn't sure. I don't know where I got the idea. It was Stephen King had something to do with it. I might be thinking of something else. Anyway, John, I didn't see any live streams from the Sturgis motorcycle rally. I did see that Smash Mouth played a gig and said a bunch of mindlessly fucking stupid shit about, oh, COVID, we're here to show we don't care. They're all going to fucking get it. And it's like, when I saw that and people were upset, like, they're not going to get it. I don't care how many of those people who are at Sturgis die from COVID. I care about how many people they're going to kill. I don't care about how many of them are going to... Oh, okay. So it's a novel written by a guy called Matt Ruff that is riffing on H.P. Lovecraft type stuff. And now they've made a TV series of it. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, so I watched the first episode. I wasn't blown away by the first episode, but I'm going to watch some more and I see what happens from here. Yeah, there's so much to see on the television. I am kind of looking forward to the sci-fi series that's coming out next month called Raised by Wolves. That looks intriguing. Some high concept original sci-fi. I'm looking forward to that. Might suck. I mean, I'm going to give it a go, but I'm approaching it with a positive outlook. Just based on the trailers and based on who's working, I thought this is like could be good. But yes, we shall see, I guess, whether it is any good. Justin, what's happened with Victoria's emergency declaration laws? The government is currently negotiating with crossbenchers in the Senate to support them. And we'll see what happens with regards to that. Yes, John, that is a really good point. Lovecraft Country is about racism, while Lovecraft himself was a huge racist. Yes, yes, there's a beautiful bit of irony in there. Like, Trip, am I a realist? Maybe. Probably depends who you ask, because there are a lot of nutcases out there who object to things that I'm quite pragmatic about. Yeah, John, the Ridley Scott developing it has got me interested. And I mean, trailers can lie to you, but they've made it look suitably suspenseful and action packed in the trailers. So I'm interested in it. So for the Victorian opposition, the LNP are the scum of the fucking earth. They're fucking filth. I fucking hate them. They are absolutely despicable. They are also completely irrelevant. They're a bunch of fucking cunts, and they are absolutely irrelevant. Andrews just has to negotiate with the crossbenchers in the Senate and come up with a plan that is, excuse me, come up with a plan that is palatable to enough of the crossbenchers that they will support it. There'll be something, because just on purely pragmatic terms, you can't have the rules not be enforceable under law, because that's just fucking chaos at that point. And the crossbenchers will see that. And the fuckwits in the LNP who, for reasons known only to them, are aggressively pursuing the fuckwit lunatic vote, actively indulging in stupid conspiracy and hyperbole. Fuck all of them. John, you got to go do some study. Good night. I'm going to go to bed soon. It's like bedtime. Lex Tripper, I'm rarely scared of saying what's on my mind. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think realist is a subjective term. And some people who think, conspiracies about 5G, Bill Gates, etc., are real are not going to consider me a realist, because I consider them fucking idiots. Justin, you think the ACT Liberals are worse? Okay, I would have to admit, I would defer to your experience on that. I have not paid a lot of attention to ACT politics, so I'm not sure. Well, Safa, by definition, the opposition don't have enough numbers. That's why they're in opposition. They are the minority in the parliament, so they don't have the numbers. Sometimes, because when you get a two-chamber, like Westminster type system, one party can control, like the lower house, the Legislative Assembly, Congress in America, and the other party can have the numbers in the Senate, which means they can block government activity. The Libs are, the minority in the lower house by quite a ways, and they're also a minority in the Senate. But Labor is also a minority in the Senate. And there are all these independents on the crossbench. So Labor has to cut a deal with the crossbenchers to get them to agree. Stella, you have conspiracy nut jobs in WA as well. Acting like Victoria is overrun by stormtroopers and their drones everywhere else. Yeah, people are stupid. Oh, God. Shelfwarmer, you got a mate is into the hashtag save the children Q fuckery. Yeah, his mum's a Karen. Oh, the fucking Q bullshit is QAnon is literally getting out of control, like to the point where it's actively dangerous. These really fucking unhinged people saying really fucking unhinged stuff. It's just yikes. Oh, sorry, the yawns. But yes, okay. I got the yawns. I think I'm going to go to bed. Justin, there's an election in the ACT in October. Wow, the ALP's been in power since 2001. See, I feel like that's unhealthy for democracy. I like to strip. I'm definitely a lefty, loony left. Have they finalized the NT results? NT election results, because there were just a huge number of seats in doubt. Okay, Electoral Commission of Northern Territory results. It's broken down by seat. Why is there not just a thing saying who won? This is fucking dumb. God, that is really fucking dumb. There's not a thing that just says who won. That is so fucking stupid. Okay, I'll go to the ABC. Ooh, 13 seats. There you go. Need 13 to win, and they've confirmed 13 for Labor. There you go. There's still 5 in doubt. So if the Country Liberal Party got all 5 of those, they'd still only have 10 seats. So seats in doubt. So it looks like there's Independent ahead in 1, Labor ahead in 2, Country Liberal Party ahead in 2. But they're too close to call. So Labor's probably going to have an even higher majority than that. There you go. Okay. Safa, yes, I spent a month in Darwin at one. It's quite nice. Smells like rotting vegetation, which smells the same as rotting garbage because it's the tropics. But it's a great place. Don't know that I'd want to live there. It's a great place for a holiday, though. So, yes. All right. I'm going to go to bed, you fine people. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to retire for the... Am I a central lefty? No, I'm a far left. I am loony left. I am extreme left. I am fucking fight the power left. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed. Feeling a little sleepy, a bit yawny. I'm going to yawn again, just having said that. That's a psychological yawn. Because I said I was going to yawn, I yawned. Yeah, Stella, it was the mangroves. It was just the rotting vegetation. Anyway, good night, everyone. Take care. Hope to see you again soon. Tomorrow we'll be even closer to the weekend, which will be exciting. See you then, but bye for now.